Most people know about the Gandhi statue that stands in Parliament Square, but not many people know about this one, which sits in Tavistock Square. We are just a stone's throw from Euston Station. We're also not very far from University College London, which is where Gandhi studied law when he came over from Gujarat. And that was the reason why this statue was put here. And the reason the statue was created in the first place was to commemorate 100 years after Gandhi was born. The statue is made of bronze and depicts Gandhi in his later years in a lotus position. It was unveiled by British Prime Minister at the time, Harold Wilson, in the presence of the first High Commissioner of India to the UK after independence. I think the statue is really beautiful. It's very peaceful. It really represents the very non-violent sort of approach that Gandhi had to protesting and to going against the British Raj. As I sit on one of the nearby benches, I see many different people coming over either out of curiosity or to pay their respects to this very well-known historical figure. Now to head over to Parliament Square. Parliament Square, and this is the Gandhi statue. This bronze statue was put here in 2015, and our Prime Minister David Cameron did a speech here when it was revealed. Amitabh Bachchan came here to do a speech also, and it was put here as a symbol of the relationship between Britain and India.
So we are from India, so I'm from a state called Bihar, and currently we are settled in a state called Gujarat, and interestingly that's where Mahatma Gandhi was from as well.
Okay.
So I am from a city called Ahmedabad, and Ahmedabad has a ashram, Sabarmati ashram, and that's where Mahatma Gandhi spent most of his political years in. So if you visit Ahmedabad, you can still see the place where he used to use his charkha to create the cotton and stuff like that, where he started the whole movement, basically the Quit India movement, and not supporting the British during one of the movements, I can't remember the name, but which basically included creating our own cotton and stuff like that.
The movement in which this guy is talking about is the Khadi movement. Gandhi wore a hand-spun dhoti as a mark of identification with India's poorest rural community. It was also a symbol of resistance against the British, as India was relying way too much on imports of cotton from Britain. Gandhi stayed in Kingsley Hall in Bromley by Bow for 3 months, spinning his own fabric, purposely surrounding himself with poor people as he did in India, and negotiating India's future. The spinning wheel became the motive on the Indian flag. You can still see the place Gandhi stayed in Bromley by Bow, and the building is commemorated with a blue plaque. This was the first ever blue plaque to honour an Indian figure. Gandhi travelled to the Lancashire cotton mills that had suffered as a result of his campaign for the use of Indian goods. And what does Gandhi mean to you as an Indian?
So we basically mention him as father of the nation, and that I think itself shows how important he is for our country. He's the only person we have in our currency, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of shows how iconic he is compared to everyone else. And also not just in India, I heard somewhere that Mahatma Gandhi has a statue in 170 countries, and that kind of shows that Mahatma Gandhi is not a non-violent icon, not just in India but all over the world. Martin Luther King has said that Mahatma Gandhi was an important influence for him, and any non-violent leader that we have seen over the years, they have always mentioned that Mahatma Gandhi was their influence, whether it was Mandela or Luther King. So that kind of shows the kind of influence that he has had, not just in India but all over the world.
Fantastic, thank you so much.
For me, as an Indian, I love Gandhi like no one. I mean, I grew up listening stories from both sides, from the lefties and from the righties, which I don't care. As an adult, when I read the world and when I travel everywhere, I see how much he has inspired, especially in the Europe.
Some people in India are now thinking that maybe Gandhi wasn't so much of a hero, and because he had such a huge influence on the British, he could have done a lot more to stop partition. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a politics. When politics is involved, they play their cards, and I have to be very careful speaking that. For me, I think what they did was an incredible job. Being an Indian in a British rule country, those days, to stood up and show the world that you can get what you want by that message of peace was an incredible and powerful idea, and which has inspired us everywhere. I can't judge Gandhi, I can't judge Nehru, I can't judge any freedom fighter from India, because I was not born and at that time. So in standing in 2024 and judging something which has happened before 1947 is not correct. If I was there, because I know my grandmother, I know my great grandmother as well, I was blessed to see them spend some time, and they still wear Gandhi cap. If you go to rural villages in Maharashtra, where I come from, Gujarat, and so many parts of India, they still respect him a lot. You can't take Gandhi out of people's heart. He was there and he will be there.
As well as London, the UK also has a Gandhi statue in Leicester and Manchester.
I'm Lali's brother, and I'm next to the statue of Gandhi in Manchester.
Whether or not you believe that Gandhi could have stopped partition, you cannot deny his inspiring, peaceful, non-violent approach towards India's independence against British rule.